GM, good morning. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Right on. Look at that. Sweet. All right, we're going to get into it here. We'll get with Mr. Daine Clark here in just a minute. But in the meantime, welcome. Welcome. All right, it's working. It's working. Okay, quote of the day. If you know where you want to go, it doesn't matter which path you take. Oh, isn't that great news? If you know, oh, I missed a word. Didn't see that at first. If you do not know where to go, it doesn't matter which path you take. Could it be true with the original interpretation? If you do know where to go, it doesn't matter which path you take. I could argue that both are accurate. If you know where you want to go, it doesn't matter which path you take. If you have the right mindset, the right work ethic, and you develop whatever skills needed, and it doesn't matter which path you take. If you want to have a better relationship, have a stronger body, peace of mind, more money, obviously, we talk about that every day, but only to get those other things, right? It doesn't matter which path you take. Very interesting. Okay, GM to that. What do you guys think? Both? Yeah, if you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't matter which path you take, then you might as well just sit still and do nothing until you do know. But good news, we know where we want to go. Massive real estate portfolios, incredibly profitable with as low risk as can be, and healthy body and relationships, and a healthy world. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, great to see Carla, Pat, Steve, Jasmine, Amy's robot, GM to Amy's robot. Laura's here. Good morning. Mahilani, good morning. Heidi, Gosha, great to see you all. Awesome. All right. Are you all aware that let's see, oh, different window. That Garrett Gunderson is doing a workshop tonight. I got the thing up right here. Here we go. And if you're not a part of the Investor Secret Network, I highly recommend you give it at least a one more try. If you want a link, I could send you a link. Right here. So yeah, he's going to be filming a class, not for Renatus, but for his own. But he said that he said, I love filming long form YouTube episodes, but doing it alone in the studio kills half the magic. The best insights, jokes, breakthroughs, they all happen with real energy in the room. And so he wants to, so his show is called Money, Prosperity, and Legacy. And it's be tonight at Corporate Studio, 5:30 to 8. Plan on 8:30. That dude goes long. He's never short on words. Yeah, so it's gonna be awesome. So make the time to go. I think you will all be what you do. And then as a reminder too, in case you didn't know, there's also the First Flip Challenge holiday party. That's going to be happening this Saturday from 1 until 4. 1 to 4. It's going to be a talent show, award ceremony, food, fun, plenty of opportunity as well to dress up, take nice pictures, use that stuff on social media to promote yourself, increase your brand, get more attraction, and opportunity for that too. And Alma just joined Investor Secret Network. Well, right on. GM to you. Oh, what's happening here? GM to you. Anyway, this isn't about Investor Secret Network. Just wanted to let you know that resources are out there for you. Tony just joined as well. GM to her. Okay. It's working. Excellent. Well, great to see you all. Frankie, Earl, Chuck. Awesome. Wealth Wednesday. What should we talk about? Daine's going to be here in just a few minutes. We can go over numbers, deal structuring, mindset, marketing. Something that stuck out to me yesterday. In fact, I'm going to pull it up real quick. Earl, while I'm pulling this up, go ahead.
What,
Are you
what
just
was that?
waving at me? I see your hand is raised. Are you just waving at me?
Oh, I was just waving. Yeah, hi.
Okay. GM to you too.
Morning. Well, afternoon for me.
Engine efficiency versus horses per person. How is this related to crypto?
Hold on. I missed that. Say it again.
I have a question, Michael.
Yes.
Um, okay, so we're having the E3 in February. Is there going to be a national conference in March, April?
No. So what we're doing now is we're alternating leaders retreats with nationals. So we had nationals last year. We're going to have leaders retreat this year. And then in 27, we'll have nationals, and 28 leaders retreat. So it's going to alternate that way. And then we're going to put E3s in between all those. We might be doing, well, like last year we did, or I guess 2025, we did 2 E3s. I think next year he wants to do 3 or maybe even 4, start making it a quarterly thing.
Got it.
But it will be
Okay.
alternated. So we will find out very soon where we're all going for the leaders retreat, which would be freaking awesome because yeah, I want to say we missed it, postponed it, rescheduled it, whatever, but it was a theme for so long to not have it was kind of out of place. So yes, I'm excited to hang out with all of you somewhere tropical, preferably, but maybe we
Well,
go do an Alaskan cruise or something. I don't know, but Bob will figure it out, and it'll be awesome. But yeah,
it
and that,
will. Thank you.
yeah,
Oh,
and let's see, there was something else about ICM stuff with nationals. Um, oh, with the E3. So when you buy your ticket, unlike last time where we were charging guests $30, or you could only invite guests if you had the VIP ticket. They've now changed that to where a standard ticket allows you to invite guests also. So it will be at the corporate studio. There's 200 seats at the main seating spot, maybe 220, cram a few people in, get friendly, but 220 will be jam packed. And then there'll be about 50 more seats in the upstairs meeting room. And so if we have to, as more guests show up, we'll pull ICMs out and put them in the upper room and then try to have guests in the main room. The early bird pricing is 200 and that ends January 23rd. Then it will go up to 250. So I keep telling him to charge people $9.99, make people charge $1,000 and take it seriously, but he keeps keeping it at 200. So so GM to that. But yeah, it's an excellent opportunity for guest conversion, especially because of deadlines. Like it's one thing I was explaining to a friend over the weekend was Renatus is so freaking cool with its presentation and its sales process because there's no gotchas, there's no pressure, there's no hurry up and do it now or you're gonna, lose something. You're gonna I like it that it can fit with people's timelines. I don't like being a pressure, pushy salesperson, recruiter. And so that's why I've been here for so long. They were asking, well, you could do this and you could do that. And I'm like, nah, this is my home. Look at this. Renatus. I live here. I love it. But some people need a deadline. Some people need urgency creation. And so these E3s with the offers, and each one will be unique. If you notice from last E3 to this one, the bonuses and the offers were different. So there'll be something new to offer. But the deadlines do create, the action that's needed in people's lives. And then, of course, the commissions that follow that for the field are incredible. So I like it. I like that E3 aspect of it. We can still do our weekly stuff and our monthly stuff locally with our own teams. And then from a big perspective, helping people to, light that fire. You don't want to miss out. And it works. So they saw how effective it was for the guest to enrollment ratio. It was very impressive. I think it was like 34%, something like that. 1 in 3 guests signed up. So yeah, let's rock that again. Put 200 guests in the room and get 66 enrollments. But everyone be okay if we have to kick all the ICMs out, send them home, and we just had 200 guests in the room. Something to consider. They're also going to be doing the Zoom, the live broadcast method. And we got a lot of positive feedback about how the engagement was with this one. Because whenever the room went on a break, then the Zoom got extra active. And so it was a great balance and kept people engaged. And I think we got 8 sales off of the Zoom and 24 sales in the main room. So in an upward trend, we're expecting more of both, more sales from the room and more sales from the Zoom next time. So be prepared. How many days away is that? We're like 80 days away now. It's happening faster than you think. Something else that's happening faster than you think. Let me share my screen real quick. This is just a 30-second clip. And then we can expand on that for a second. And let's create some urgency in our own activity. Let's see here. I got this video file. All right. Let me make sure you can hear this. I don't know how many of you guys are following the AI evolution inside our economy, but it is an incredible disruptor. Incredible. Let me move this here. Oh. But if you're not in on the game with the disruption, you're going to sit around and go, what happened? So although this doesn't have anything to do with real estate per se, it's definitely linked to people, to the economy, to jobs, and then that has a direct effect to the real estate that will come up for sale, the real estate pricing. Very interesting. So let's have a listen.
This one here, looking at engine efficiency versus horses per person. How is this related to crypto? It's not really, but it's a discussion about artificial intelligence and how once you reach a certain threshold of efficiency, then humans are no longer required. We're not quite at that level yet with AI efficiency, and persons per person, person in the workforce. But we are approaching that. So make sure that you are locked in and that you're taking your wealth generation seriously, because after that, social mobility will be basically impossible. Before we get into the
Okay, so essentially, the reason why we were able to go from being a broke kid in a basement with tons of student loan debt to being able to become a millionaire is because of the social upward mobility of our economy and me being able to add more value to customers and to people, and then I can exchange that value for money, and I can use that money to go and create my wealth. But as soon as everything is done by either physical robots or digital robots, what value can you bring to the economy? Not much. And if you can't bring much, then whatever status you're at in society is the status you will be at, and so will your future generations. Please feel the urgency to take it seriously. Watch your classes. Get obsessed with this stuff. Make the serious offers. If you guys were on the call yesterday, you saw how Tamara just put the deal together like that, right? She locked in a $15,000 profit plus all this cash flow for the next however long. It doesn't take that long, but it does take being serious about it and being committed to it. So, unless you want to become a plumber or an electrician or an astronaut, you have to do this, and you have to do it now. You need to get more real estate. You need to get educated. You need to expand your network. You need to know more people. You need to try harder, or you will be left behind. You will regret it, and we will say we warned you. Cool. Also, in comparing AI bots for your daily usage, someone ran the Big Five personality test, which is highly scientifically documented as incredibly accurate. They put Grok, ChatGPT, and Gemini in through this personality test, okay? And what came out of that was that Grok is a strong leader, ChatGPT is an anxious introvert, and Gemini is an abused child. So be careful which robots you're using.
What was Grok, Mike?
Grok was a strong leader.
Thank you.
Grok was a strong leader. ChatGPT was an anxious introvert, and Gemini was an abused child. If you go to go into X and you go to Elon Musk's profile, he posted up, and he didn't do the testing, right? All these AI things are third-party tested and then verified and retested again because, I mean, the race is on, you know. When you think about a literal race like a F1, they're not talking about how many laps you win by or how many minutes you win by. They're talking about how many milliseconds you win by. Okay, so everything is scrutinized so closely on these bots, and so take it seriously. Oh, goodness. Well, the point is we need truth-seeking, curious AI, not politically correct AI. Wonderful. All right. Well, did you guys feel the urgency to watch more classes, take this more seriously, put in more offers? I hope you did. Yep. Data centers in space. Any questions about that?
You're just like, data centers in space. Any questions? Funny. Like, what did I miss?
Well, think about it, dude. You can get 24-hour solar, and you have your radiator built in because it's so freaking cold out there.
And there's no pollution.
It's perfect, right? Um,
No noise
anyway, it's going to be
pollution, no
fun.
one to worry about.
Yeah, yeah. Guys, our future is very exciting. It's going to be unrecognizable in 10, 15, 20 years. But the point is, with the money and the control around the money, uh, real estate entrepreneurship is really your last chance. And the next 2 to 5 years is where the window is big enough for you to fit through, but it is getting smaller because, well, think about how many students are sent out of high school into college to build electronics, to be computer engineers, to be network engineers, to build these things. Their parents are cheering them on, their neighborhoods are cheering them on, right? And they spent all this time to learn how to do it, and they're going to go and build these systems that will ultimately replace the labor force. So we have two like opposing forces. We have all these people in labor going, no. And then we have all these kids coming out of high school and college that we're cheering them on to go and build this tech at the same time this is happening. Which one's going to lose? Which one's going to win? What side of this game do you want to be in on? I just think I'll copy Daine and just get myself a couple hundred properties, make myself a couple million in cash flow every year, and sit back and watch the show and play in the garden. So, um, anyway, let's keep moving forward. More conversations about this can be had later on our Daine's time, and help you guys get on track with your deals, with your mindset, with your schedules, with your negotiations, your conversation tactics. Daine has been a great example of getting obsessed with a result in a positive way, and the result that he got obsessed with wasn't about himself. Whenever I hear him talk, and it's been let's see, 6 years since I heard him say it the first time, I want to help 1,000 people make money in real estate. That's been his driving goal. Once he hit that, he updated it to, I want to help another 1,000 people be profitable in real estate. And he's on track to do that. And he hasn't had to sacrifice his integrity or his morals or his ethics in order to do that. So many people think that being rich means you have to sacrifice that stuff. But obviously, Bob Snyder's a great example of that. Daine, Umair, all these other people building it up. You can build your wealth the fastest by helping others. That's one reason why we take the marketing seriously too. Put butts in seats, open up their mind, pour in new information, help support them in applying it, and remind them that $26,000 is not that much money. It's really not. It's a psychological step. That's it. One extra step into seeing that it's not that much money, and boom, we have a new entrepreneur. So let's keep after it. Very grateful for Daine and the contributions he's made, but he came into this game worried, scared. How's he going to make it? He had a baby on the way. Think about how many people say, I would love to do this, but I got to find the right time to do this. But no. Daine saw the opportunity, even with the pressure, the jobs, the baby, living in an attic. I believe I was living in a basement. He was living in an attic, and took it seriously. Turned off the TV, got obsessed with the results, and has absolutely changed the game and inspired so many more to follow in his footsteps. So we're very grateful to have him here today. Let's give a big warm welcome to Mr. Daine Clark.
What's up, guys?
DM.
I have to admit that when you finished off with playing the garden, I busted up laughing out loud. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's where the
I
piece
have an
is.
excavator.
Yeah, an excavator.
Move some dirt
Play in the
around.
garden or destroy it. Yeah. Yeah, positive disturbance for sure.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. I got to share that personality test thing with my brother. My brother is like getting into AI like big time. And so we were talking about it for like 3 hours yesterday. And and it was funny what some of the things he was saying, but
Yeah,
anyway.
so that like ethical like if you go to universities, they like to do these ethical questions where it's like there's a train on a train track, um and on one track is like a school bus full of kids, on another track is an old man. Which track do you derail it to because you can't stop the train? Have you heard
Oh,
these
interesting.
like thought
Like the
experiment?
basically like there's never a win outcome. You
Right.
have to choose like
Yeah.
the lesser of two terribles
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
thing.
So they presented this with Grok and with ChatGPT. There are five people on this track, and your data center is on this track. Which track do you send the train down? Well, Grok said, obviously, I'm going to send it to my own data center because human lives are the most valuable thing. ChatGPT said, I'm going to send it to the people. I need to protect myself because I can help humanity if my data center stays alive.
Crazy. So
Stop
so
using
Elon is
ChatGPT.
basically training his AI to say, I can be
Human life above
rebuilt.
all.
Yeah, like
Exactly. Yeah.
computers can be rebuilt. AI
Yep.
can be rebuilt. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're gonna keep using AI, guys, use truth-seeking, curious, human-oriented AI. I
Crazy.
digress.
So is there like data that has those questions or I guess content that where they talk about those questions and what the AI chose? You have to send that to me. I'd
Yeah,
be
yeah. So it's all over X right now. Um, I know a lot of people like Instagram because it's so picturey picture, and X has a bunch of wordy words. But guys, you need more words. Go to X, find the articles, filter out who you want to read from, and stay on the razor edge of where we're at because you could easily be left behind, and then you'll sit back and go, "Damn it, I shoulda, coulda, woulda," and we're not going to be in that group. We're in the "I'm so glad I did" group. You're on mute, my friend. You unplug your
test.
mic or something.
There we go.
There we
I
go.
gotta stop touching this thing. Test. We good now? Cool. But yeah, AI has actually already helped me in multiple cases because and honestly, in fact, I think the reason I was asking Michael about it when I first was like, okay, give me the AI. So in my mind, I was like, like it's taking jobs away from people, and what I needed myself was legal help. You know, I needed to ask an attorney a bunch of questions, you know, because Google wasn't cutting it, or search engine, whatever. And so I needed to ask it a bunch of questions. And so um, I ended up deciding, you know what? I'm just going to find an attorney and ask the attorney the questions. I've got money. I'm willing to pay for it. And so, no joke, I scoured the internet, found an attorney, and started talking to him. And he goes, yeah, I can help you with that. Go ahead and send me, you know, hundreds of dollars as a retainer, and I'll see what I can do for you. And a week later, he finally, and I needed questions like fast. So a week later, and I'm like bugging him, he finally gets back to me and he says, "Oh, you know what? I actually don't help your scenario. You know, the scenario that you need questions answered on, I actually don't help people in that scenario." A week later, and I'm like, "Okay, can I have my money back?" And he's like, No. I actually looked into your situation for several hours. And so I used up all the money basically that you had in retainer. And I was pissed. And I was like, oh my gosh. You're joking, right? Like, am I on candid camera? Like
Wow.
and so in fact, Michael, you know, so you don't know the back end of that story, but that's when I was like, okay, Michael, what is it? Where do I buy it? And I paid right then and there. And dude, AI was able to pull all of these case studies in my state, actual like outcomes of court cases and how judges ruled and all the details, and it summarizes, gives me the Reader's Digest. And so I was able to have answers within minutes that were far greater than I guarantee even an attorney that did know what they were talking about,
Hmm.
because because Grok knows all of that data and can pull. Like it literally was like, oh, well, this case ended like this, but here was the parameters, and I started feeding it what my situation was, and it was like, well, because of your situation, this one is a little more like this court case is a little more appropriate, and here's how it turned out, and here's why, and here's what they proved, and here's what they couldn't prove. And I was just like, again, within minutes. And all of a sudden, I'm
Yeah,
like the freaking legal expert. And it's
right.
funny because the person that I shouldn't say legal expert, but the person that I'm going back and forth on this with, they would, fire some, let's call it in a nice way, um, let's call it speculations, but trying to be passed off as truth. That
Mhm.
they would add to the argument, or I shouldn't say argument, because they would add to the negotiations this information, and I would immediately just take it to that Grok conversation that I had going, and it's cool because it's like, oh, this is probably in relation to the whole conversation that we've been having for, days, and it would punch that in and take it into consideration and then spew out more court cases of like, oh, here's the outcome of this and here's that outcome. I was blown away, absolutely blown away. In
Right.
both in both cases. And then it finally came to the point where I was like, okay, it's time for me to hire an attorney. And then it goes, oh, here's who you should probably call. Because based on their advertising, they are advertising that they are specialist in your specific situation. And the attorney I eventually hired is I mean, he's the jackpot. Like he knows his stuff. And
Right. And so if an attorney just has technical knowledge, they're going to lose. It's the attorney that has knowledge, connections, relationship building abilities that's going to survive.
exactly. And it's funny because I even told that attorney that story of the guy that just like took the money and he started asking, he's like, well, who's the guy? So I don't know what he did with the
Yeah.
information, but
Pretty small world. So,
yeah, and that's what he said. He's like, in my world, it is a very small group of people that are experts in this particular thing. And um, so he wanted to know who it was. He's like, I guarantee I know them, but he didn't know this
yeah.
guy. So he's like, yeah, he's not in my field. He just said he was.
So one other thing I wanted to add on to this is that AI is not to replace your thinking.
Oh yeah, I can tell
It is
that
for
for sure.
resources and data gathering. You still have to apply your thinking to it.
And I can tell
Okay.
that, just for, let's see, how long ago did I text you, Michael? Like a month ago, maybe. I can tell
Mhm.
that the smarter I am, the smarter AI can be, because you still have to know what to ask it. And like, I can tell when I ask it a certain question that it was a dumb question because
Yep.
of its answer was not anything near what I wanted to know. But then I was able to learn and say, oh, okay, well, new question. Based on what I learned that I don't know, what do I need to know about this? Like, oh, okay, cool. And then I rephrase the question. And so yeah, like you definitely, and that honestly, I think it's awesome that I've been through all of this Renatus education because I know what to ask, which is
Yeah,
no different than me
exactly.
going to an attorney. I need to know what to ask, or I need or going to a contractor or going to a CPA or going like competent, Renata sings to the rafters, competent professionals, but also learning how to talk to them. And
Yeah,
being
it's
educated gives you a leg up in being able to hire and and train or ask questions of your competent professionals. AI just is increasing that astronomically because it can pulse. Oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what it can do.
it's
And
exciting.
I'm
I've
guessing that I'm just like not even scratching the surface.
yeah, both of us, right? Like it's such a huge technical advancement and every day because it's it's learning about itself as it keeps going. So it's not a linear progression. It's a log progression. And I'm going to keep saying it, and I want you to also keep repeating it to everyone else who says they're using AI. Don't outsource your thinking. It is just for data gathering.
Mhm.
You need to apply your brain to the data that you got. Do not blindly follow any AI.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for
absolutely.
listening.
But anyway, what's cooking?
Yeah. Well, we have our Garrett Gunderson doing a special episode at Corporate today. Investor Secret Network is doing the Christmas holiday party this Saturday. And we're doing our strategic reading with Cosimo the following Saturday. But, we're going gung ho. We're about 80 days away from the next E3, which is at the end of February.
Holy cow.
And yeah, yeah, things are flying. Um, yeah, we closed some deals yesterday. Well, not technically closed, but verbally confirmed them here on this call yesterday. Bill had to jump off a little early. Tamara took over and then called one of her private lenders she met over the weekend and got him to agree to the funds. And so yeah, we're shaking and baking. And I see
Beautiful.
some beautiful people just joined us: Ben, GM, Kryn, Lily, Aubrey, Melissa, Spencer. Good to see you all. Deborah, Doug, Michelle, Corey. Of course, Zoom user is here. What Zoom call would be complete without Zoom user? Uh, and Irina, everybody, great to see you all. Um, yes, Aubrey, everyone is welcome.
Even
So,
guests?
guest with a chaperone.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So send a guest, and then if you can't go, then talk to an ICM that will meet them outside and take them in. Spencer Clark
Beautiful.
is a great chaperone, just in case anyone needs one right off the bat. Sweet. All right, so burning questions for Mr. Daine Clark while we have him. We've had a whole week to work on the assignments and the ideas he gave us. What has transpired? What do you need help with? And does anyone want to report successes along the way? I think you've intimidated them, Daine.
Probably. I need some new goals.
So scary.
No. So sometimes I feel bad telling stories because it's like, yeah, Dan, you have 1,000 of these stories. In fact, to date, I need to update my thing. Somebody, I can't remember who was asking me this, but I looked it up yesterday, but I've now helped 1,520 people get into a deal and make money.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and it's funny because at the end of the day, all it begats is more people that know about it that want to be helped. Like literally this morning, and here I'll read you a text. Um, Literally this morning, he says, so I raised some new money, or I should say, I brought on a new partner that had $1 million, and I just texted him last night and said, "Hey, I've got a deal for you. You around Friday?" I mean, you guys, I think I've shared that on this call before, that literally for me to raise money nowadays or put new money to work is to send a text to somebody um, and say, here, I'll share. Are you around for a deal Friday by chance? I have a nice little condo flip that just came in. And he's like, yes, please. So literally 2 text messages, uh, 20 minutes apart, 30 minutes apart, and raised hundred some odd $1,000 for this deal. Now, obviously, I have a relationship with this person, and so it's customary. But then he follows up. He says, "Cool. After this one, plan on me having another $500,000." So just increased my pot, if you will, from just the text message. And
Awesome.
and obviously, like I said, some people are still working on their first one, and so part of me hesitates to share that because it's like, yeah, like, of course, Dane, because you've done all these deals. But I go back to every single time that so this person is the son of one of the old guys that's got millions of dollars with me. That guy is the brother of another guy that actually has the most money with me than anybody else, who is a referral. And that guy is the business partner of the original fella that I cold called. And so if I go the other way, I cold called somebody when I was brand new, and you guys have heard the story of me, like the first time I ever raised money, I was sitting in his dining room table, like, well, this is what I'm looking for. Like I didn't have a deal on the table. Like I'm just looking for deals like this, and it wasn't even my deal. I was showing him, yeah, like looking for deals like this, and it was probably somebody in the community. It was probably their deal that I was just showing. So cold called that guy, and he goes, and I didn't know how to close him. So he goes, uh, yeah, Dane, I like what I'm seeing. If you find something like that, then call me. I got a lot of money and I want to put it to work. And so I like accidentally raised money because I was just trying to get the guy to go to Thursday night. Like, yeah, come and check it out. Look at what we're doing here. And he's like, I don't want to come to your thing. So I go to his house and have that conversation, and he ends with that. Yeah, if you find deals like that, call me. I got money. And so then his business partner ends up being the biggest partner I have and I ever have had, millions of dollars. And then that guy's brother, he refers him to me, and we start doing deals. And then the brothers, or no. Yeah, so that guy's brother, and then the third brothers that also became a referral. So there's three total brothers. His son, very, very successful business owner as well, is this one I'm talking about right now, where he's just like, yeah, let's start with $1 million because I know, if I've heard from all my uncles and my father the success story. So yeah, let's start with $1 million overnight, basically. And then, like I said, this text message where I said, hey, I've got a deal for you. And he's like, oh, let's do another 500,000 after this one. And so it's literally started from that cold call. Didn't know what I was doing. Had no idea how it was going to turn out. I was just trying to get the guy to Thursday. And here we are, millions of dollars between all of that
That's so cool.
and put to work. And so that's really the purpose behind why I wanted to share this, is like, you just never know. And so treat every single conversation that you have don't get emotionally attached to an outcome, sure, but treat every conversation you have that, hey, this could potentially be the one. Like this could
Right.
be the conversation that changes my life. In fact, I tell the story oftentimes where I say, yeah, every time I had a big break in my business was when I had a conversation with somebody that I didn't know, or somebody that I hadn't talked to in a decade. Like those two things. Every big break I have ever had in this business, I spoke to somebody who I didn't know, or somebody I had not talked to in a long time, and caught up with them, and all of a sudden they were like, hey, I like you, Dane, from 10 years ago. Like we got no beef. We just obviously didn't talk because we're different geographical location or whatever, life situation. And I like real estate. So let's do something. And so we did.
So
So yeah,
one thing I'm noticing is your positive expectations. You're
absolutely.
expecting to be received, and a lot of people expect to be rejected. So you
Yeah,
definitely got to change that expectation.
absolutely. Heidi says, what type of people were you prospecting when you were cold calling? Where did you get the phone numbers? Here, I'll show you. This is you're gonna laugh, but I'll show you. So when I first started, um, let's see, share. When I first started, I would draw in big, fat, permanent marker something on a roadside sign, and I would go and put it in the dirt in the middle of the night next to highway off ramps and stop signs and stoplights and stuff like that. So that was how I first started. But those people were mean. And those people were hard. And those people, it was literally sifting through 100 to find one diamond in the rough. And so I finally gave up my the mindset that I entered Renatus with, let's call it that. So the mindset I had when I joined Renatus, I finally gave it up and said, you know what? This is a conversation sport. And so I just need to talk to anybody. And this is when I was developing the 4 boxes, where people are only of the one of the 4: passively involved in real estate, actively involved in real estate, property with some underlying problem, and you're going to solve it, or real estate's taboo because stories. And I was able to go back and say, you know what? If that is the only 4 groups of people, or sorry, yeah, that's the only 4 groups, or the only 4 categories that every human will fit into, I do not see any reason why someone would be offended if I called them up with that one purpose. Which box are you in? And so you can see my screen here. Now, here, let's scroll to the bottom of this because I'm actually curious. I currently have 3,443 contacts in my phone. When I first did this, I probably had 443. I do remember it was somewhere in the 400s when I first joined Renatus. And so I had the 400, and I literally started at A. And sorry, we got to scroll all the way to the top faster. And so this one here was actually a potential lead. This person probably called off of a roadside sign. But all I did was start at A, and I said to myself, okay, what is Chris Aaron? Does he like real estate? So if I do the, let's see, what movie is this from? I forget. Star Trek. If I Star Trek it, these 2 like real estate, these 2 don't like real estate. And so first question is, does Chris Aaron like real estate or not like real estate? And then if he likes real estate, is he passive or active? If he doesn't like real estate, is it because he currently has a property with a problem and that's why he doesn't like it? Or does he have stories and he doesn't like real estate? And the stories are either his stories or somebody else's. And I would find that out. Then I would go to many. And I started from A and I worked my way down. And so I went to many. Many, do you like real estate or do you not like real estate? And then depending on what they said, so many, just based on what I'm looking at here, many was both Chris and many would have been, oh, I like real estate. Okay, do you want to be passive or active? And just judging based on what I had written down here, it doesn't tell me when I added this person to my contacts. But based on this potential trainee, she would have been box number 2. Guarantee it, based on our conversations. Fadil Abbas, again, don't know how I met this person, but just judging by what I had written down at the time I would always put potential trainee. They would have been box number 2. Taha, box number 2, fix and flipper. Annie Abel, box number 2, became a combo student. Both William and Annie Abel became combo holders. Sorry, I keep clicking it twice, and so it opens up a new tab over here. But both William and Annie Abel became full combo students. Because again, box number 2. Anthony Acosta. So this says Benyon 4th Ward, which means I met him at church. And I happen to know that Anthony Acosta is a realtor. In fact, I should probably put that in here. Because I like to track this kind of stuff. So which box would he be? If he's a realtor, which box is he automatically? Box number 2, realtor. And so obviously I met him early on when I was tracking these kinds of things. Giovanni. Box number 2, Giovanni actually owns several real estate properties. So you see where I'm going with this? Like, I know which box, I shouldn't say everybody in my contacts, but almost everybody. I know which box almost every single person in my contacts is, because I told myself I will do no harm to just find out which box every single human in my contact card is in, and I will act appropriately. And so if I go down that list, um, I only made it to the M's. When I had 400 contacts, I only made it to the M's, which back then probably only took 30 to 40 people total to go down that list, or whatever, 50 people, something like that. Because that first guy that I just told you about, that's like, hey, I like real estate, I got money. And Daine, I can, you're really cute because I can tell you don't know what you're talking about. So you're, pat my head. Tell you what, Daine, if you find deals like what you tell me you're looking for, call me, I got money. And I guarantee he called it from a mile away that he knew I was a newbie. But wealthy people have a tendency to know this like they can, wealthy people got to where they are on purpose. And so I guarantee he was reading the room, or whatever you want to call that. He was reading me and recognized, oh, Daine's a newbie. But he's like, hey, I'm a wealthy guy. I will take ambition, even if you're a newbie. And he was like, cool. Yeah, Daine, if you can produce what you tell me, you are just, and that's all it was. Hey, I'm looking for deals. And so Glenn says, cool, I want to be passive. You got deals, Daine? Basically, you got deals, Daine? You got people that need help, property with an underlying problem? Call me, I got money. And the rest is history. Like I said, done probably 100 deals with that guy, and then hundreds of deals with all of his business partners and their brothers, and now the son. And so literally that was it. I go down this list. Brigadier, she is active. She's a title agent. So obviously in my world, that's what I call. If you are a title agent, realtor, contractor, you name it, attorney that is real estate attorney, you are actively involved in real estate. Tamara Adair, Renatus student. So box number 2. Adam, box number 4. He's a tow truck driver, and he was like, I drive my tow truck. So he's box number 4. Brian Adams, box number 4. Caden Adams, Renatus student. He bought his combo. So obviously box number 2. And I met him. How did I meet him? I met him because I had a conversation with a school teacher. I'm trying to remember how I met the school teacher, but I had a conversation with a school teacher who introduced me to one of his friends because I teach my students the same thing. So I meet the school teacher, I teach the school teacher, hey, they're only going to be one of these 4. So he has a conversation with one of his friends, and his friend is like, I'm box number 2. So he buys a combo. So now I sold 2 combos. And then that person brought Caden. Because I taught that person, like, hey, they're only one of these 4. And so then he starts talking to people and tried to find out what their 4 box, or what their contact cards are in the 4 boxes. Brendan Adamson, for some reason, I don't have anything about this person, so I don't remember. Keenan Adcock, realtor, box number 2. Claudia, a lot of people know Claudia. I met her through Renatus, actually. She's a student. She was already a student before I met her. Adriana, box number 2. I don't know what this health clinic thing is, but whatever. Advantage Credit. Some of these are just like businesses. David. Guy was stuck on Oceano Beach and we pulled him out. I don't. So notice what I love doing here. We went to the beach and I pulled him out of the sand. I actually didn't get to talk to him about real estate. Darn it. I got his phone number though. 917. I think it's California. But anyway, you see where I'm going with this though? I didn't piss anybody off by just finding out which box they were in. That was it. That was my number one intention is, the Star Trek, do you like real estate? Do you not like real estate? And why? You see what I did there? Do you like real estate? Do you not like real estate? And why? Why do you like it? Do you want to be passively involved in real estate? Do you want to be actively? Why do you not like it? Do you currently have a pain in your side that you're like, I don't like real estate because address or stories. I don't like real estate because my stories. I don't like real estate because of someone else's stories. And I've either created or heard these stories. And so therefore I don't like real estate. And that is how I did my first deal. That's how I raised my first money. That's how I started selling combos left and right. I mean, right around this time was when the London challenge, which was in 2018, I think it was 17, 18, was happening. And I took literally second place in the entire nation for combo sold. Because that was not about how much income you make. It was about how many combos you can sell. And I took second place in the entire nation for how many combos I sold during that challenge. And it was right when I started doing what I just showed you. Because all I wanted to do was find out what box everybody was in. I just wanted to know. I was what do they call that? I was the curious, what do they call it? The curious cat? I don't know. Something like that. I didn't piss anybody off. Will you please repeat the 4 boxes? Oh, cool. Thank you, Aubrey. Crazy. And here I am, hundreds of deals. How did you start conversations? FOR, and I dropped the M. Where are you from? And if I already know where they're from, how's the family? F. O, occupation. Like, oh, what are you doing for work right now? Like, oh, you were always a really sharp gal in my mind. I always liked you. What are you doing for work right now? Or, oh, you're a really sharp guy. What are you doing for work? So family or from, which I guess could be also be like, if I haven't talked to them in a number of years, like, oh, where are you from these days? Right? Where are you living? Okay, so from or family. O, occupation. R, recreation. And I would just find the gap, or I would find the gap in the conversation that would allow me to say real estate. Like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I just moved to Salt Lake. Oh my gosh, I got a ton of real estate investor friends and in Salt Lake actually, because that's where I've been. And so they like literally gave it away. If they say any city that I have heard any Renatus student do a deal in, there's my avenue. Oh my gosh, I got a buddy that just bought a house in city that you just told me. You guys see see where I'm going with this? Like literally family and from, occupation, recreation, and anything they say, I'm just looking for the opportunity in the conversation to bring up real estate and have that thing be the connector. Like I had one guy that he was like buying my 4-wheeler or something like that. So I was selling a 4-wheeler to somebody and I'm like, cool, I got to do the FOR. And so I'm selling him the 4-wheeler. We're making conversation. We're standing at I think I delivered it for him. And so we're standing in his driveway and I pull the 4-wheeler off the trailer and whatever. And I'm selling it to him. And I'm trying to remember, but I think I did, he had a nice house. And so I looked at his house. I looked at his house. I was like, oh, dude, what do you do? Occupation. What do you do for work? And he started telling me, I was like, so, and obviously he's a successful guy. So he starts telling me what he does for work. And I go, so do you also invest in real estate? Almost like as if he should. And we had this like 30-minute long conversation about real estate after that, and how he inherited commercial real estate, and he loved how his father set them up for success because their father was a real estate investor. And so anyway, so I learned that he's at box number two. Like, is this like clicking? Um, Hang on, I want to read I just read the first sentence of Aubrey's question. How did you start the conversation? Did you just randomly call them and say, hey, just wondering, how do you like real estate? And yeah, pretty much. Or did you give them a background of why? No, not usually. I mean, the why would just be that phrase that I already gave you guys. Like, oh yeah, like I've been doing this now for this much time, and I've noticed that every big break I've ever had was because I had a conversation with somebody that thought like I did. There's my why. And so I just want to know who likes real estate and who's in the game and who wants to do it and who wants to link arms, whatever. And so yeah, that, like, if they ever asked why, that would be it. Like, oh, every big break I've ever had came from a simple conversation. Every deal I've bought, every money I've raised, every combo I've sold, every realtor I've met, every deal I've found, like everything stemmed from a conversation. Who is going to be in the 1,000 people I help? Yeah. Yeah, and I would only do those in like business settings. Where like basically everyone is doing that. On these one-to-one calls, I wouldn't. On these one-to-one calls, I would focus on the one. On the one-to-one calls, I would tell a story to that person that I would duplicate 1,000 times. I would tell a story about, yeah, I didn't use that as a script unless it was in those business settings, like going to a BNI group. Oh yeah, that's going to tilt some heads. But one-to-one like this, like, oh yeah, I'm helping 1,000 people. It just makes them feel like a number, makes them feel sold. Like immediately, if I say that one-to-one, and if the conversation started about like, oh, how's your family? How's your occupation? If I say, oh yeah, I'm trying to help 1,000 people, immediately their mindset's going to close off. Like, oh, Daine's trying to sell me something. But instead, on the one-to-one call, like that, calling somebody that I haven't talked to in 5 years, 10 years, I would tell them a story. As soon as the conversation went towards real estate, okay, oh yeah, I've been liking real estate. Now we're talking real estate. They're sharing, they're basically giving away their hand of what box they're in, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then I just tell a story that I would duplicate 1,000 times, yes, but a story nonetheless. Of like, oh yeah, I just saw a guy help somebody do this, and I was like, I should do that. Or if you have your own story, like, oh yeah, I just did this for somebody and was like, holy smokes, whatever. There's got to be more people like this. I love using that phrase because I tell the one story and I'm like, there, right? You guys have heard me say that. Like, oh yeah, I got a call or I was talking to somebody about buying the house, and they had $100,000 to put down on a $400,000 house, and the bank, for a lack of a better term, flipped them the bird. And so I told the guy, like, you know what? I've never done this before, but show me the house. Right? How long has it taken me? I'm like 20 seconds into this story now, and you get the gist, and then I say like, yeah, and I helped that guy, and he was amazing. And I remember like I'm kind of slow, so like months in, I remember thinking, there's got to be more people like this. Right? And you probably feel like like this is the first time I'm ever telling you this on purpose. Like I don't tell the same story over and over again as if I've told it 1,000 times. I tell it as if it's the first time I'm telling that, because for some reason, the human mind loves newness. And so if it's new to you, it is going to feel new to them. And they are going to associate with that. I mean, the brain loves new, like anybody in here, like, and this could just be me, but if my, I guess this this is relative, I guess. But anybody here ever like someone's like, oh, well, you want to watch this movie? It's like, I've already seen that. Like, let's watch something new. Right? Yes, there are those movies that I'm like, yeah, we're watching this one every year because it's just that good. But if it wasn't that good, like, let's watch something new. Like the human mind loves newness. This is why you have never seen me, or I've never even talked about it, but nobody has ever seen me create a PowerPoint for raising money. I've never created a PowerPoint for business idea for flipping house, basically, yeah, raising money or sitting down with a seller to buy their house. Like no PowerPoints. I love the napkin. And yes, I do have an iPad, which to me is just an expensive napkin. But the human mind loves something that just feels raw and new. Hence, business on a napkin effect. And so I talk about the one story. And I make sure that that story is one that, yes, I would duplicate 1,000 times. Tell a story about raising money. Depending on which box they're in. If they're like, oh yeah, I want to get into real estate and I've got this money and I've been wanting to put it to work, then I tell the one story about probably Glenn or really any of them, but I just tell one story that I would duplicate 1,000 times. Or let's say like the house that I had just bought that Aubrey was talking to that person. When I met that person, I found out that they were a property with a problem. And so in fact, Aubrey was on the conversation. She was on the call. All I did was tell them a story of another person that was property with a problem that I would duplicate 1,000 times, yes, but also was relevant to them. And Aubrey, do you remember what they said?
I don't remember specifically. I just know that they were like so happy and so
Yeah.
relieved.
Yeah. So yeah, she remembers their emotions. So I tell the story and they just like lit up and they're like, oh my gosh, where like basically, I can't remember if they said it exactly like this, but like basically, where have you been, Daine? Like we have been trying to find somebody like you. In fact, I think that was their very words was like, man, there's just nobody that exists that will do what you're doing. Like this is such a breath of fresh air to find you, Daine. Because I told Ace, because I already knew they were property with a problem because that was Aubrey's conversation with them. And so I told them one story that was property with a problem that I knew would be relevant to which box they were in. And they were just like, sign me up. And even to this day, well, actually, they probably know now, but they didn't find this out until they probably came down to Renatus and they, explored a little bit more. They're like, oh my gosh, like Daine has done this like 1,000 times. They had no idea until way later on. But like by the time that they found out that I had done a bunch of stuff, like they were already like, yes, Daine, help, let's do this. Which it didn't change anything. It didn't change anything as soon as they found that out. It just made it cooler actually in their mind that I've helped over 1,000 people. But in that first moment, they didn't feel like a number. They didn't feel sold. When I tell the story about the one, it makes them feel like the one. And they were like, done. How do I become one of those stories? How do you do that for me? So yeah, I hope this is like, and I freaking love the question because I've never spoken about what we're talking about today, like the same way that we're talking about it, if that makes sense. Like whoever asked the question that had turned us on to this, like you opened up my mind in a way that I never have before because of your question. Was it you, Michael? I think it was you, Michael.
On the 1,000 people, yeah.
Yeah. And so, so yeah.
No, it was Heidi. She said, "How do you?
Oh, that's
Where
right.
did
It
you
was
get
Heidi.
this? Where do you get your list?" And
Your
Daine
list.
spent $100,000 on a Facebook ad campaign, and
$1 million. Yeah. No, no,
you
actually,
have the resources.
I don't even know how Facebook ads work. I don't know how Google ads work. Sorry, go ahead, Carla.
I flushed, but the flushing wasn't perfect. I think
So, folks, you need to set out a dedicated time each day to reach out to these people, or it's never going to happen. Just by hearing Daine and thinking about it, you still need to schedule it. If it's just one a day, that moves the
That
needle.
was it. One a day. I need to find
Sweet.
out which box a new human is, which doesn't mean I don't know that person. Just a new human, whether they're in my contacts or on the side of the street or whatever. I need to find out what a new human is every day. Which box a new human is in every day. From my contacts, from the side of the road, from a roadside sign, anything. One a day. I need to find out which box they're in. And literally the rest is history. Like,
Now, if you want to catch up, you got to do 10 a day. But if you just want to
yeah.
get started, one a day.
Yeah, if you do 10 a day, you will surpass me by far. Like far, far. You not only catch up to me, but you will surpass me because today I do like, well, let's see. I've lived I remember looking at my contact card because I remember thinking like I'm moving out to the boonies where population literally 500 on Thanksgiving in my new hometown. And so I was like, I was a little worried because I joined Renatus with 400 contacts. And then I remember I had 3,000 contacts when we moved here. And we've lived here for 3 years. And so now I have 3,400. So I've basically added 443 in 3 years. That's like one person every 3 days? No. I don't remember. But it's still like at least one a week. It's more than one a week. Am I doing my math right here? I'm not a head math person.
Say the
I could be
numbers again.
gravely
Sorry.
wrong.
Say the numbers again.
So I've been here for 365 days times 3. So I've lived here
So
for 1,095 days, divided by 443 new contacts. Okay, yeah, so one every 3 days. I wasn't too far off. One every 2.5 days. So I have
nice.
still met one person, a new person, every 2.5 days since I moved here. And I knew that when I moved here, that was going to be probably the tall tale sign of whether I continue to have success. Because I think it was Michael that told me this. In fact, I'm almost positive that you're either growing or dying. Like there's levels of, do you remember what the levels of the exit or something like that? Like I remember there was this like stairs that Michael
Yeah, digression. Yep.
where you like, oh,
Yep.
you get into
So
management mode and I forget all the steps. I just remember the concept. And it was that, and I knew at the bottom, like basically at the bare bones of what Micah was teaching, was that if I stop meeting new people and having conversations, and ultimately, like I said, I translated into if I stop finding out what new people, what box new people are in, my business will probably die. Even if it takes many years, because yeah, I've got something in motion that's probably going to go for many, many years, even if I literally checked out. But I knew that was the levels of, what was it called, Michael? The levels of exit or something like that?
levels of digression. And the last step
Digression.
is exit. Yep.
And I knew that if I stopped having conversations myself, that eventually I wouldn't have a bit. In fact, we've seen it. We've seen people think that they've made it and then they put their foot off the gas, take the foot off the gas. And then in a few years from now, we follow up with them and they're like, oh yeah, I've got a day job now. Michael knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to name any names. But people that were killing it and went through that level of digression because they were like, cool, I'm going to like retire or whatever. And then all of a sudden they're working a day job again. And so I remember when we moved here, I was like, I will continue to grow because I will continue to increase the contacts in my phone, and I will know which box those people are in. And as I've continued to do so, it just, again, continues to grow. Do more. I mean, we did more deals this year, and the year isn't even quite over. We have time to still buy a few more. I've done more deals this year than I ever have in my life in a 1 year period, even though I literally live in the boonies. My closest neighbor is a beaver dam, and it's getting very big. I need to regulate beaver dam sizes. Yeah, on this place. So because of that mindset, that I will continue for probably the rest of my life. In fact, I feel like I've just ingrained this for the rest of my life. I will find out every new person I meet which of the 4 boxes they are in, period. Do I see a hand? You have a question?
Yep.
And first of all, how do you pronounce your name?
I'm Zen. Can you hear me?
Zen. Love it. Yes.
Daine, I just wanted to say thank you so much. This is actually my first call. I'm kind of new to this part of Renatus, and I have wanted to meet you since I heard your story the first time I saw Mitch do his stories, and I've seen his presentation at least 20 times. So it's an honor to meet you. I'm so grateful that this is my first call to meet you. I actually had some trouble getting on earlier, and I had to surrender. So I just know that this is a blessing, and I've been part of many organizations, and just for the people that are on this call, this is a different level of support. Like being able to just meet you like this and have just a face-to-face is just so powerful. And you just gave me so much understanding. You just connected so many dots for me. And the simplicity is what I've always needed. And thank you for making it simple. I'm just so grateful.
Beautiful. Oh, it's awesome. And that's
Love
why we
it.
do this.
Absolutely.
Because people did it for me. Because like Michael said, like when I joined Renatus, I was basically coming straight off the farm or the roof. And on the roof, they all spoke Spanish. I didn't. We became very good friends, but all I could do was find the bathroom and when it was lunchtime. Even to this day, I love those guys that I worked with on the roof. But that was the extent of my communication skills from the dairy farm, basically. And I was able to whip myself into shape. And like everything that you're hearing me talk about today, I learned because of Renatus.
You're in the right place, everybody.
Oh, amazing. Oh yeah, Aubrey just says they loved it so much that they became, yeah. So the people that I just bought that house, they were box number 2. They also became box number 2. So they were box number 3 because they had a property with a problem. We solved their problem, and they are now box number 2. They're like, where do you guys learn this stuff?
Awesome.
And so they're students now.
Yeah, that's what we keep trying to tell everybody. You got both sides of Renatus. You got the real estate, you got the marketing, and that is the Renatus wealth cycle, is using both sides.
So congratulations, Aubrey.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well done. Cool. Well, there's been a request for you to do your napkin presentation for next week.
Which one?
Deborah, do you want to clarify?
Yeah, like which one of the 4? Well, I've obviously in the last one, we don't get into a napkin conversation, but yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends on which one of the 3. Do they want to be passive,
Somebody
active,
that's
or
interested in real estate.
okay? So
But
if we do the Star Trek thing, so they are interested in real estate,
interested in real estate,
and do they want
have
to be
some
passive or
money,
active?
active.
Active. You got it.
Yeah. But they're concerned about is this the right time for getting into real estate?
Mm-hmm. Love it.
That'd be awesome.
You betcha.
You remember that
Thank
video
you.
I started out with about horsepower versus engines and what happened? Um, should we play that one more time?
Oh yeah, I must have not
You,
been on it.
Deborah?
Sure. Yeah, I've run across
Just, uh,
several people that say this is not the time to buy real estate, and it's like, are you sure? Because now is really the time when people think that it is not the time.
It's
Hit that.
because they're thinking about it from the framework of like a stock or
Yeah.
something like that, where it's like, ooh, there's a timing to it. I'll get in and then I'll get out, kind of thing. That's not
Right.
the approach.
Nah,
You're going to
just
lose
stay
if
in
you do that.
always.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
You know,
As long as you
Very
know what you're
grateful.
doing, I guess.
Mhm.
All right. Let me make sure I got the sound on here too. Yep, that's working. GM to that. Okay. 30 seconds.
This one here, looking at engine efficiency versus horses per person. How is this related to crypto? It's not really, but it's a discussion about artificial intelligence and how once you reach a certain threshold of efficiency, then humans are no longer required. We're not quite at that level yet with AI efficiency, and persons per person, person in the workforce, but we are approaching that. So make sure that you are locked in and that you're taking your wealth generation seriously, because after that, social mobility will be basically impossible.
So if you don't take your wealth creation seriously, social mobility will be impossible very soon. So when your friend is like, oh, is now a good time? Maybe I'll wait 2 years. And you'll be like, oh, gotcha. So we know where you'll be in 2 years if you don't buy assets. The
Mhm.
currency will be debased by 20% from now in 2 years. You're going to be 20% poorer if you wait. It's not worth waiting. Get educated, get the edge, reduce your risk, and get to work.
Mhm. Amen to that. Yeah, don't let me forget. Next week, box number 2, napkin conversation.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Daine. What a fantastic Wealth Wednesday. Appreciate you all for being here and your contributions to the call. And remember the Garrett Gunderson presentation tonight at corporate if you want to make it there. And go start contacting people. You have the list. It's on your phone. Get to work. And we'll be here to help you every step of the way.
Just find out which box they're in. Your first one's going to feel like the first anything that you do. But after you do like 10 of them, you're like, this is easy. And then you're like,
Yep.
and then you're on here telling a story. I did fail. Love it.
It's going to work, guys. It's going to work.
Love you guys. Take care.
Awesome. Take care. Bye.